Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan Adams. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, I'm a high school student who plans on going to Japan over the summer to work at a foreign company as an intern, and I will be leaving in around a week. And the first week I get to Japan, I'm going to be spending that time with my dad and sister, and I'm going to get used to the area, get familiar with Japan, and get over the jet lag. Then after that, I'm going to be working for 6 weeks at my internship. So, the previous videos I covered topics like housing, airports, and different parts of Tokyo. But this video, I'm going to be talking about budgeting and how I planned for this trip. So, the main two parts of your budget is going to be your fixed cost and variable cost. Fixed cost for me is going to include things like the flight itself and shopping. All variable costs are going to depend on how many days you're staying for, and for me, I'm staying for around 2 months, and that will include things like meals, transportation, and housing. So for flights, traveling over the summer, it's slightly more expensive. Students are out of school, they're looking to go on vacation. I had a budget of around $2,000 for this trip. And I found a flight for around $1,900, which is pretty close. And this budget is going to include all the layover flights, if you decide to go to LA and then take another flight to Tokyo, something like that. But I found it for $1,900. So for housing in Japan, I had a budget set of $100 a day, and this is pretty high since the yen is not doing super well compared to the dollar, which is very strong. And you can find plenty of hotels for under $100 a day. Very very nice hotels. You can also find plenty of Airbnbs, maybe homestays even. And I talked about this in another video, but I found an Airbnb, a little apartment for $1,500 a month, which is around $50 a day, which is quite a bit lower than my $100 a day budget. It's in central Tokyo. It's a very good deal. Even the other Airbnbs, which are around 2,000 to $2,200 a month, that's only around $70 a day. And I found a really good deal for $50 a day, and that'll definitely save me a lot of money on my budget. So for food, of course, some hotels and homestays that you guys might be at, they'll provide breakfast, maybe dinner. So that doesn't have to be worried about. But for me, I will be setting a budget of $50 a day on food. Oh, I plan on going with the budget of 1,000 yen for breakfast, 2,000 yen for lunch, and 3,000 yen for dinner. And this comes out to 6,000 yen, which is a little more than $40. And of course, this is plenty for meals. You can find plenty of meals for less than 1,000 yen. Right now, the exchange rate on yen to dollar is 1 yen for 0.0071 USD, and that means that 1,000 yen is gonna only be around a little over $7. So, of course, you can always go to like your nearby convenience store, grab a small bento box. That'll be less than $1,000, but you know, to be safe for breakfast, 1,000 yen should be plenty. For lunch, 2,000 yen. This should cover most things that you would want to get. Of course, meals are going to vary. For dinner, you might want to go save up and go to a very nice steakhouse, get some Kobe beef for 20,000 yen maybe, or you might want to save and get a bowl of ramen for 1,000 yen. So this all varies, but to average out, I'm hoping on spending no more than 6,000 yen a day on food, which is around $40. And transportation. I talked to my dad who lived in Japan for around 20 years. He said that most people walk. If you look at Japan, most people are going to be walking. You'll see some cars, but not too many actually. And I talked to him. He said that he'd much rather take a walk for 30 minutes than to find a train ride for that's 10 minutes long. And this is because he said that train rides, there's a lot going on. They're very busy. Of course, it costs money, and just all around walking is more convenient. You might want to consider if you're traveling in the summer, that summer is very hot, you'll be sweating a lot, so maybe you don't want to do that. You'd rather take the train ride, and that's fine. But transportation, I set a budget of $20 a day for transportation. And this is actually very optimistic because most of the time I'll try to be walking or taking cheap form of transportation like the subway or train. And even the subway or train, if you decide to take a train, that's one or two stop that's somewhat nearby from where you're living in Tokyo, that's only going to be around the $1.70 ticket. So $20 a day is very optimistic. Taxi, it's more convenient, but it's also a lot more expensive. But again, I'm being very cautious with the budget. I intend to walk and take the subway, taxi, not taxi, sorry, train as much as possible. And I think that I'll have a lot of leftover money for the $20 a day for transport. One of the last categories is shopping. Now, shopping will vary for everybody. It just depends if you decide to go there and not shop at all. You'll have $0, or it can go to 1,000,000 yen if you decide to just spend all your money like crazy. But for shopping, of course, I'm gonna need to buy some necessities to set up in my apartment, and I also need plenty of. Well, I also like plenty of room to, shop for souvenirs, buy some cool clothes, stuff like that. And so I set a budget of $500 to $1,000 as a fixed cost for shopping. I don't really know how much I'll buy, but I'll try to spend uh, in that range. I'm going to be there for 8 weeks. So I don't think I'll spend any more than 1,000, definitely. But I have that budget in there. The last cost is miscellaneous. Obviously, you can't anticipate everything. For example, some flights or some airlines, they'll charge a pretty cheap ticket, but they'll also charge a lot for your carry-on or check-in luggage. And this really depends on the airline or the flight you're taking, but no, this is actually pretty common. They might charge 150 to $100 for a check-in bag. So that's something you want to consider with miscellaneous costs. Another thing specific to Tokyo that or Japan that you should take into consideration is that there is no tipping culture in Japan. They believe that they have to provide the best service possible, and it kind of comes with their job. And so, if you plan on going out to dinner and spending $50, you don't need to anticipate a $10 tip. There's no tipping in Japan; it's not common. So altogether, I made a little list. I have flight, housing, meals, transport, shopping, and miscellaneous. Before I looked at everything I decided to spend $2,000 on the flight, $100 a day on housing, $50 a day on meals, $20 a day on transportation, and shopping around $500 to $1,000. And miscellaneous, that's just something to account for. Uh, the flight, I found something very close to $2,000. It was 1,900. Housing, I got a very good deal on the Airbnb for $50 a day, so I'll be saving $50 a day on housing. Meals, $50 a day is very optimistic. Maybe you want to eat cheap for the first couple of days and save up for a big meal. Maybe go out with friends and eat some Wagyu beef or just a sushi buffet or something. But $50 a day should be plenty. If I use the 1,000 yen breakfast, 2,000 yen lunch, 2,000 yen dinner strategy, that'll only be around $40 a day. And transportation, I set a budget of $20 a day. At most, I think that this would only be $10 a day. And shopping, $500 to $1,000 for the whole 8 week trip. So this comes out to around $5,000 a month. For the budget I set for myself. And like I said, this is very cautious. This leaves a lot of room for me. Obviously, I don't think I'll come close to spending that much in the whole month. The actual price of housing is $50 a day, not not $100 a day. Meals is more around $40 a day rather than $50 a day. Transportation at most it'll probably be around $10 a day. But it's always a good idea to be safe. You know, leave yourself some cushion, leave yourself some space to breathe. And this comes out to around $150 a day, but in reality, it will probably only at most be $100 a day. So, yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you.